What a bitch. Wait, is there something else I'm supposed to be doing right now? Yeah, it's only been like 2 weeks, right? Whoops.
In my thoughts and in my dreams, they're always in my mind. These songs of hobbits, dwarves and men, and elves, come close your eyes. You can see them soon.
Shit. Fuck. So guys, you like the set? Yeah, so I had a whole bunch of stuff that was going to be coming on the way, and it was supposed to be here already. And I checked the other day when it was going to arrive, and it was like, oh yeah, it's going to be there, you know, in a couple hours. And then I get up the next morning, and it's switched back to like it went from shipped with an arrival time back to like pending. And I was like, okay, well, what happened? Did the truck crash or something? It's still pretty good, right? So today's video is going to be a Dungeons and Dragons story, kind of. I'll explain in a second. Also, I really need to get this done because Chance is getting very impatient. He's threatened my life multiple times. I'm starting to think he might be serious. Also, I got to apologize real fast for being gone for so long. It was supposed to be a small break, and then it turned into a much longer one than I had anticipated. I actually did have something that was ready to go, and then I just didn't. There's no reason. I just didn't do it. So I don't know what I'm going to call this yet. If it says D&D in the title, that's slightly misleading, but only because it's not Dungeons and Dragons. It's a different game system called Zombies, right? Well, Zombies with an exclamation mark, like a big one. Big exclamation mark. Zombies is a really cool game. So the system's really easy to understand. It's very simple to execute. And if you're brand new to running the thing, those are both positives for you. Plus the system itself is designed more for comedy than anything else. So even if you mess up, you can just make it something goofy and then move on from there, right? The other thing is,
yeah, I've definitely seen Orb.
Characters are extremely easy to make, right? You don't roll for any of your stats. You just write them down yourself. You come up with a character and you just make it all up as you go. You all start at like a base 10 for all of your statistics. I'll like list them here. They all start off at 10, right? You want to make one better, you take one down. That's pretty much it. Everybody gets a perk, a flaw, and a power. Your perk is going to be something related to your character. Your flaw is going to be something, again, related to your character, but usually on the opposite side of your perk, so that it's a little bit more, balanced, so that nobody's, your perk can't be something like, oh, I win everything. Like, that's boring, right? And if you've got really good stats, you can always offset that by giving yourself a really bad flaw. It's a pretty cool system. I like it a lot. And then your hero power can be something related to who you were before the apocalypse, something that makes you who you are. It's a cool system. I like it a lot. Like I said, it's mainly for comedy, which is where today's story is. So I was going to do this series. This is heavily inspired by a guy who I used to watch a lot, actually before I even started playing Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or any tabletop RPG. I watched this guy's videos first. If you know who it is, then you know who I'm talking about. If you don't, just watch these instead. I can't say that. I can't say that. So I got a whole bunch of stories from the tabletop games and things like that, but I don't want to animate them all like I did last time. I'm going to animate a little bit here and there, but it's in cut between the animations and me, because that makes it a lot easier for me to do, because last time that took me ages and it doesn't look as good as it could. I'm going to try out a little bit of a new style. We'll see if it works. If it doesn't, I'll go back to the old one. If it does, great. I'm cool with that. Okay, so today's story is from a game of zombies that we played. This is a story called Gun Rope. Maybe the dumbest thing I've ever seen in a game in my life. So here's the setup, right? There's two people, two of the players that I'm running this game, so I'm not one of the people involved, but I'm the one running the game. The two people that are involved are my friend Taylor, who you might remember from this video.
Feels good to win. Shut the fuck up. You can't get milk.
And my friend Zach, who you probably know from the tier lists, right?
You know how
What?
we have a tier below Del Rio?
Yeah.
I think we need a tier above S. Look at him go.
Taylor is playing a used car salesman named Rusty Lemon. Zach is playing a French mime magician named C'est moi. If you don't know what that means, it's French for "it's me." It's the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard in my life. So Rusty Lemon, he's a used car salesman, right? His perk is that I believe if he searches a container, he can always find money in there. It's like always on the drop table for him. His flaw is that if there is money, he's got to take it. So if he's dying of thirst and he opens up a box and he's only got one inventory slot left and he finds a clean, never before opened, pristine bottle of water and 5 cents, well, he's got to take the cents, doesn't he? The reason it's cool is because his hero power is, I think it was called Payday or something like that. And basically, if he was gonna take damage, he could just spend $100 and then it just doesn't happen anymore. Or if he wants to automatically kill something with damage, I think he could spend $100. So it was a really cool system. The mime, C'est moi, I don't remember what his perk and flaw were, but I do remember what his power was, which is that he was a magician, but his hero power was that, no, he's a magician for real. His magic is real. Every other magician in the world, they're fake parlor tricks, C'est moi, no, he's an actual real wizard. I remember one time they got stuck in the basement of this rundown house and there were a ton of zombies like crowding him around and they had collapsed through the floor into the basement, right? And the only way out was up the stairs, except the stairs had fallen in and they were gone too. So there was just like a doorway that was like a floor above them and they had no way to get out. Rusty Lemon, he's got like some rope on him and he's like, if only I could get up there, I could tie this rope and then I could get you to, I could like pull you up with this rope. And C'est moi, he's a mime, so he can't say anything. So he just says, in his head, he's like, well, say no more, pal. So he uses his power and he like turns into, in Super Smash Bros, where Game & Watch will like grab you and then he does the little juggle move where he throws you off the ledge. He did that, he collapsed him into a singularity. He grabbed Rusty Lemon, collapsed him into a singularity, and then juggled him up and threw him up above into the doorway. I have no idea what Rusty Lemon was seeing there. But this story comes a little bit later after that was over, right? Rusty Lemon is investigating a broken down storefront, right? And he sees on the ground, there's nothing in this store, it's just broken glass and some rotted wood. He sees on the floor, he finds a revolver. He walks in, he grabs it, and either he doesn't check it or he says that he checks it and gets a 1. Like just completely fails, right? And so I say, no, you know for a fact this gun is unloaded. No bullets are in this thing. He takes this gun, this kind of Mondo caliber gun. Like this was a big revolver. And he goes, all right, hell yeah, puts it into his waistband, and then he heads out. Then later, there's a wall where they need to get across this wall, but the wall is like it's like a bunch of smashed cars, like from like a junkyard where they would crush them into cubes, except instead of doing the cubes, they just smashed them down like a pneumatic press. And somebody has stacked these cars up to form a wall. And they need to get around it, right? And they're trying to work out how to scale it and stuff. And I had a thing written where they could, go off and talk to somebody, and he was going to give them a way around it. But no. They're too good for that, and they're way too smart for that, right? Taylor decides that Rusty Lemon goes, you know what? I got this rope from earlier. C'est moi, can you help me with something? You're a magician. I'm not so good with knots. C'est moi says nothing. He's a mime. And Rusty Lemon takes the gun with the rope on the bottom. He's like, I'm gonna use this gun as a grappling hook. I don't know. He throws the grappling hook up. The gun is sailing through the air. He's aiming for one of the car's rear view mirrors, right? And the gun is sailing up with the rope trailing behind it. They're both watching this thing. He rolls for it, he fails. I think I have them both roll a dexterity just to try to get out of the way. And they're like, get out of the way of what? And I'm like, oh yeah, you'll see. And then they both fail. So I was like, oh yeah, you're definitely gonna see now. So the gun flies up in the air. It wraps itself around the rearview mirror, and then it pulls tight and... fires. The bullet flies down and hits the mime in the leg, and then it unwraps itself like tetherball, falls back down. As soon as it hits the ground, bang, it fires again. Boom, hits Rusty Lemon right in the stomach. And then he goes to, for some reason, he goes to pull the rope, and bang, it shoots the mime a second time. So he's almost killed himself and the mime in one fell swoop. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It's incredibly dumb.
Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. But before you go, I got one more thing for you, just as an apology for taking so long. I worked a little bit of something in at the end, so hope you enjoy.
He was such a noble dude. I can't even finish school. Missed my mom and left too soon. His dad was a fireman who found fire so violent. I think I bored my therapist while playing him my violin. Oh my god, that's so insane. That's such a shame. Next to them, my shit don't feel so grand. But I can't help myself from feeling bad. I kind of feel like two things can be said. The world's smallest violin really needs an audience. So if I do not find somebody soon, I'll blow up into smithereens. This feel like 2017. Just let me play my violin for you.
You okay?
Communist target acquired.
I'm supposed to beat this guy. His special is called Death Slice. Mine's called Fat Bro. There is another 88 frames after I stop moving.
My grandpa fought in World War II when he was such a noble dude. Man, I feel like such a fool. I got so much left to prove. All my friends are vaping friends. They're so good at making friends.
Call me a liar?
I'm so scared of caving in. Is that entertaining yet? Oh my god, that's so insane. Oh my god, that's such a shame. Next to them, my shit don't feel so grand. But I can't help myself from feeling bad.
Throw dog into their sting.
Hello? Can you hear me? You fucking broke!
Oh my god, I
Somewhere in the universe, somewhere someone's got it worse. Wish that is only the way. What the fuck?
That line is west and to the right of it is east.
Really needs an audience.
I knew
it.
Oh, he's so far away.
I'll blow up into smithereens and spill my tiny symphony all up and down a city street while trying to put my mind at ease, like finishing this melody. This feels like a necessity, so this could be the death of me, or maybe just a better me. Now coming with
This is... well, hopefully you know who this is. I'm not sure I do any longer. Cassette tape number... hold on. My notes are falling apart. Cassette tape number 9. I am beginning to lose hope, despite how much I may have ever had in the first place. Going up into the foreman's office turned out to be a mistake. That door was barred for a reason, and now I fear the consequences of straying too far from my tasks. I only wanted to find that record. The gramophone doesn't seem to require any power, and the note scratched into the wood underneath the device seems to suggest that the record it is meant to play holds some secret to escaping this torturous place. Regardless of how much progress I make, it always seems my fortune is poor. Things continue to fall into place such that I can never make these tokens fast enough. The tasks are too slow. My conversations with that... well... that thing... they're too long. Well... I believe I have the solution, but that's what I felt last time. I have to keep pushing forward. Forward is the only way to stay ahead. These menacing thoughts tearing at the back of my mind. I had them more and more often now. Anyway. This is Dr. Yes. Yes, I was a doctor. That's right.